Hello and welcome to the 28th video in the PHP e-commerce series. My name is Curtis and this is Free Skills. Well, in this video what we're going to do is we're going to create our cart page and display the items in our cart. So we're well on our way to doing the checkout process, but we need to a way for our clients to see what's in their shopping cart and to begin the checkout process. So let's go ahead and jump right into the code here, and what we want to do is go ahead and open up the includes navigation. We'll add the menu item first, and what I want to do is after this end while, okay, so we got this while loop, and then we have another while loop here that creates our dynamic menu items based upon our categories. So after that, we're going to add another menu item, and what we need to do is let's see, I actually just realized that I'm missing a closing UL, so go ahead and put that in there if you are missing that. But before that closing UL and after the while loop, we want to go ahead and create another list item. So li, okay, and within that we're going to put an anchor tag, and we're going to send that to cart.php, which is a file that we haven't created yet. Okay, go ahead and close that anchor tag, and then inside of the anchor tag we'll do a span with a class equal to glyphicon, and then we'll do glyphicon dash shopping dash cart. Okay, and close that span tag, and then before the closing anchor tag, let's go ahead and put a space and put my cart. Alright, let's go ahead and save that and refresh the page now. So you can see the span tag with the class of glyphicon gives us this nice little image here, and then we have the shopping cart. Now that'll give us a 404 if we click on it now, and that's because the file doesn't exist. So we need to create that. So in the root directory of our project, I'm going to go ahead and create a new file, and it's just cart.php. Okay, so in cart.php we are going to do just go ahead and open PHP tags. We skip down a few lines there and close our PHP tags, and we need to require once, and we're going to require core init.php. Alright, and then we need to includes /head.php. We'll include our navigation, so that was includes /navigation.php, and we'll go ahead and do our partial header on this, so it's includes /header partial.php. Okay, and we'll go ahead and after this closing PHP tag, we'll skip down a few lines. We'll open PHP back up, and we will include our footer.php. Okay, let's save that, and if we refresh now, you should have your page, and it should have your partial header, your navigation, and your footer. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to get started with our content, and let's see, go back to, so after our closing PHP tag, we'll just put our div, the class equals call medium 12. Okay, let's get down a few lines, and then we're going to do a div with a class equal to row. Alright. Line that back up there. And then what I want to do is do an h2 with a class equal to text center, and close the h2, and we'll do a horizontal rule, and inside of that h2 we're going to say my shopping cart. Alright, so let's go ahead now, save that, and take a look and make sure we're on the right track here. So we got my shopping cart and our HR, or our horizontal rule there. And what I want to do is I want to display your shopping cart as empty if we don't have any sort of items in our cart, or I want to display a table here. So what we need to do is, after this h2 tag there, we're going to go ahead and open up PHP, and we'll do if. Now remember, we have this cart ID variable available to us because of it's in our init.php file. So what I'm going to say is if cart is equal to a blank string. In other words, if there are no items in the shopping cart, then what I want to do is we'll do a div with class equal to bg danger. Okay, and then inside of that we will do a paragraph tag with a class equal to text center and text danger. Oops. And we will go ahead and close that. Not sure what happened here. Okay, so inside of the paragraph tag, then we're just going to put a little message that says your shopping cart is empty. Alright, so after this closing div tag here, what I want to do is go ahead and do an else. So we'll do PHP else. Alright, and that gets a colon and then a closing. And I'm going to skip down a few lines, and I'm just going to do PHP and if, just so I don't forget to do that later. So if I refresh the page now, nothing's going to happen because we actually, from the last video, have items in our shopping cart. So what I can do just to mimic that is up here, underneath this include, but inside of our closing PHP, I'm just going to reassign the cart ID equal to a blank string there, and that's just going to override it being set in the init because the init happens before this. So if I refresh now, I should see your shopping cart is empty. Alright, so, and you could put a link here to go back to the home page or something like that, but this is all I'm going to do for now. I'm going to leave that up to you to decide how you want to handle that. So let's get started on the else. So if there aren't, so I'm going to get rid of that cart ID, setting that to empties, and inside this else statement here, what we want to do is start building up our table. So I'm going to do a table with a class equal to table. We'll give it table bordered, table condensed, and we'll do table striped. Okay, and we'll close our table. Oops. Alright, so inside of our table we have the T head, and we have T body. Just go ahead and set that up while we're here. Alright, so inside of the head, what we want to do is start setting up our THs, which is our table headers. Okay, and we're going to do this, just copy that, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll do this 6 times, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to just put a number sign right there, or for you youngins, I'd say a hashtag, but it's just a, or pound sign, but it's just shorthand for number. Okay, and then we'll do item, and then price, and then we'll say quantity, and then we'll do size, and last but not least we'll do subtotal. Alright, so let's take a look at what that is like. So I can see number, item, price, quantity, size, and subtitle. And now we just need to fill in the actual data of the table. So inside of our body here, we are going to, before we start on the body, we need to grab a few things. So up here at the top after our includes, let's go ahead and put an if statement. We'll say if cart ID does not equal a blank string, then we're going to set some variables and run a query. So we'll create a cart queue, and we'll have that equal, we'll run that query, so db query, and we're going to say select all from cart where ID is equal to, and then we're going to say cart underscore ID. So that will give us all the, this will return the row of the ID. So if you look in our database, we're looking for this ID here, and it will return this whatever row of the ID. Okay, so then what I want to do, once we have that, we could just say result equals my SQLi fetch sock, and we'll pass it in that cart queue, cart query, and we will say items is equal to, now what we're going to grab here is result, and then in the database it was items, okay? But that will return that JSON string. So what we actually want to do is decode that and turn it back into an array. So there's a function in PHP called JSON decode. Alright, and what we want to do is wrap this result in that JSON decode. Now the other thing we want to do is add a second parameter to this function, and we're just going to set that equal to true. And what that will do is force this to decode as an associative array rather than returning any sort of object. I feel like it's a little easier to work with arrays most of the time, so that's what I do. But you can do whatever you want. And I'm going to set I equal to 1, and then we'll go ahead and set up some variables here, and I'm going to say subtotal is equal to 0, and then I'm going to say item count is also equal to 0. Okay, so now that we've set up this query and we have this items array, what we could do just to show you that is we could var dump that items array. So let's save that and refresh, and now here's our var dump, and you can see there's one element in our array, the ID is our ID 8, okay, size small, quantity 1. So let's take a look here. Now let's see. So you see our ID is 8, so this is matching up. Okay, so we can get rid of that var dump if we want. Actually, let's leave that there for while we're developing this. We'll get rid of it shortly. So back inside of our table, in the body of the table, we're gonna go ahead and open up some PHP tags, and I'm gonna skip down a few lines and close the PHP tag. The first thing I want to do is do a for each loop, and what I want to do is for each items as item. So for every items in our item array, I want to loop. Okay, so that's how that works. Just gonna use a for each there. All right. So inside of our for each loop, we want to grab product ID, and we're gonna set that equal to item ID. Alright, and then we can do a product query. So product Q is equal to DB query, and we'll say this time select all from products where ID is equal to, and then we have that product ID. Okay, and then we will do product is equal to my SQLi fetch associative array, and we'll pass it in product Q. Alright, so then I want to set up a size array, and we're going to make that equal to explode, and we're going to explode by a comma. So that's the first parameter. And then what are we going to explode? Well, we're going to explode product sizes. That's the sizes column stored in our database there. Alright, so now we have that size array, and we're going to do another for each right here. So go ahead and set the for each up, and inside of this for each, we're going to say for every element in our S array or our size array, we're just going to set that equal to size string, because remember, we have a string for each element. Alright, so for every size string, we are going to just set an array here. We're just going to call it S. Okay, you can call it whatever you want. I'm just going to call it S just to make it easy, and we're going to explode again, but this time we're going to explode by colon, and we are going to explode the size string. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to compare and grab the quantity of the size of the item that we have in our database, or that we have in our cart. And so in order to do that, we're just going to do an if statement. Okay, and in this if statement, we're going to say if S0. Now remember, the first element of the array was the size, and the second element in this array is going to be the quantity. So if the size is equal to our item size, okay, now this item is inside this for each here, so if that size equals the size in our array, then we want to do something, and what we want to do is set available, okay, equal to S the first element, or well, this index of 1, which is the second element in the array. The second element in the array is how many are available. Okay, so got the if statement. Alright, so what I want to do is after this for each, we're going to leave this for each, but what I want to do is go right here and I'm going to close PHP. Now the reason I'm closing PHP there is we're going to jump out of PHP and then we're going to jump back in later. Okay? So we can actually condense this a little bit. We could bring this up here like this, and then we could close that. Could clean this up just a tad. Alright, so inside of here, now this is all going to be inside of this main for each, and this is a closing bracket to that for each, but we're breaking out of PHP right here. And when we break out of PHP, we're going to do a row for each one. So tr, okay, skip down a couple lines there, and we have, if you remember, we have 6 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just going to copy that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's what's going to happen. The first element was the number. So all we're going to do here is print out, we're going to echo out our iterator, so I. And remember, the first one was just being set up here, so 1. The first element will just be 1. Alright, so that's the number of the item. So, and at the end of the loop, we'll add 1 to that. But let's just keep going here. The next thing that I want to do is, for the item, we're going to go ahead and do an echo product, and we'll echo out the title here. Okay. The next thing was the price of, so we'll echo. Now we have created a function in our helpers called money. So what we're going to do is echo out money. I'll go ahead and close my PHP there. And inside this function, we're going to pass it product price. Alright? So that will take the price of the product from the database and pass it through our money function, which basically formats the number and adds a $ to it. Alright? The next thing that we have was quantity. Now this quantity is how many they're ordering. So what we can do there is just print, or we'll do an echo, and this time we're doing the item quantity, okay, because we're looking at the quantity that's added to the shopping cart. And let's just real quick, let's just go back here and refresh and see how we're doing so far. Not so good. I have a typo here on line 36, which is probably causing the other error as well. So let's look at that really quick. 36. So I have 2 A's there. Alright. So I don't want to get too far before we check things. Alright, so you can see our first item, that I here, is set at 1. And then we have the title, long skirt. We have our formatted price here. And then we have our quantity. Next we'll go ahead and do the size, which is really easy as well. And this one is going to be item size. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at that, make sure we're right there. So small. And then our subtotal is just going to be our quantity times our price. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to echo out our money again function, or the return from our money function, And inside of that money function, we are going to say item quantity, okay, times product price. Okay, let's save that and hit refresh, and we just see $19.99 because it's 1 times that. Let's go ahead and add something else to the cart. So let's go, let's add another small long skirt. So we'll go to women skirts, add one more of these, and that was small. So we'll hit add to cart, and let's add a purse as well. Let's go to accessories. We'll add one of these purses. Alright, let's go back to the shopping cart now. And now here in the shopping cart we can see this is already starting to work. We have our long skirt, and they're $19.99 each, and we've added 2 of those to the shopping cart, and of size small, so that is total $39.98. And then we have our purse, which is $59.99. One of those, here's our size, no size, and then $55.99. Right, so one thing that we want to do is, as we're going along with our products here, we're going to want to, inside that loop, we need to go ahead and jump I up, because if we look here, I on both of these, or this number, is 1 on both of these, and I want this to be 1 and then this one to be 2. So all we have to do to fix that is right here, after we open PHP back up and before our closing bracket, skip down here, and we're just going to say I plus plus semicolon, and that's shorthand for +1. So it's going to take I and add 1 to it. So now if I refresh the page, it's 1, 2, and if we carried on, it'd be 3, 4, 5 for each line item in the cart. Alright, the next thing that I want to do is I want to keep track of the item counts, okay, and that way I can see how many total products are going to be delivered. So I'm going to create a new variable, and I'm going to say item count. Now remember, we set this up here as item count to 0. So at the end of this loop, what we want to do is we want to take item count and set that equal to item count. Well, actually, we'll just concatenate on, so we'll do a plus equals, and then we'll say item quantity. Alright. The next thing that I want to do is keep a running subtotal, and so I'm going to make a subtotal array, or we've already made it, but I'm going to set that plus equals, and then we need to do a little math here, so I'm going to group it, and I'm going to do the product price, okay, and then we'll say times item quantity. Alright, so that adds to the subtotal each time we go through the loop. So then we're going to break out of the loop. So I'm going to go to this, here's this closing curly brace breaks out of the loop, and I'm going to skip down, we're going to do a little more PHP, and here we're going to set a variable called tax. Now tax, we haven't quite set up yet, but we're going to create a constant called tax rate, and we're going to times that by our subtotal, and that will give us our tax. And then we'll go ahead and format that as well. So we'll do tax equals number format, which is a PHP function, and we're going to first parameter will be tax, which is what we're going to format, and we're going to format that to 2 decimal places. Okay. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to create a function or a variable called grand total, and we're going to set that equal to tax plus subtotal. Okay. So we got our tax and subtotal. Now we need to set up our tax rate right here. So we're going to do that in a config file so we can easily change this later. And in the config file, we're just going to say define, and we'll say tax rate as our first parameter. And in my area, I know that our tax rate is 0.087. Now that's going to vary widely for wherever your county or state or whatever your tax rate is. If you choose to do no tax, just put that at 0, and then your tax will always show up as 0. But you can just put your tax here and put it not in percentage but in decimal form. So this is almost 9% tax right there, sales tax. Alright, so that's our tax rate. And so if I refresh the page, whoops, if I refresh the page here, actually open brackets, maybe it's a sign. So as long as I don't get any kind of errors, I think we're good. Alright, so now what I want to do is create a separate table right below this to keep track of our totals. And in order to do that, we're going to, right here after this table, we're going to go ahead and go down a line, and we're going to start a new table right below it. Now this table, we're just going to give it a class equal to table, and then we'll say table bordered, table condensed, and I also want to set text right. Okay, we'll close our table tag. Alright, so in here we're going to have a T head, and we'll have our T body. Okay, now in our head we'll just go ahead and set up some THs. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, so we'll copy this. 2, 3, 4. Right, and what we're gonna say is total items for the first one, and then subtotal for the next one. Extra little, and then we'll say tax. Okay, I'm not really sure what happened. Oh, I see what happened. I copied this in the wrong place. Alright, so then after tax, I'm going to say a grand total. Alright, let's take a look at that. Okay. Inside this head here, I'm going to give that a class equal to totals table header, and we'll do something with that in a CSS in a moment. Okay, so in our body, what we're going to do is just one row. So we can just say tr. Alright, give ourselves a couple lines, and then we'll do td for table data 1, 2, 3, 4. Copy that 2, 3, 4. So the first one, we just need to echo out our item count, which is this. We're keeping a running total as we loop through our products, and then we have, after the last time that loop, that will be as high as that'll get, so our item count will go there. So that's going to go under total items. And then for our subtotal, we're just going to echo out, and we will go ahead and run this through the money function, and we're going to echo out our subtotal. And then for tax, we're going to run that through our money function, just to format it, and we're going to grab tax. And then for our grand total, we'll also run that through our money function, and we will say grand total. Alright, and then what I want to do differently on that one is inside that TD, I want to give that a class equal to BG success, and that'll give it just kind of a green background there. So let's take a look at our totals table. Alright, so we got 3 total items, so 1, 2, 3, that's correct. Our subtotal is 95.97, so hopefully if you add those together, that's what you get. And then our tax is the subtotal times our tax rate that we set up. So this, in my case, it was $8.35. And if you add this and this together, you get your grand total of $104.32, which is what will be charged to the credit card. Okay, so one thing I want to do here is add in our code. Let's go to the top of this table here. And right before our head, I want to add a legend. Okay. Now, let's close the legend, and I'm going to put just totals there. Just give it a little separation between these two tables. So if we go back and refresh, you see my shopping cart, and then we have totals for here, and that just adds a little bit of separation between these two. Alright, so we can get rid of our var dump there. We're not developing that anymore, so let's go up to the top and just get rid of our var dump. And we'll refresh the page. So the var dump's gone, and let's just add something else to our shopping cart, make sure we're all good here. So we'll add 2 of these. And then we'll go back. So now we see cars and trucks onesies. But what happens if we add, let's say, a long skirt, like a medium long skirt? That should be a new line item because it's not the same size. So let's go back to women skirts, and let's add one of these, and let's make it medium. And then we'll go back to our cart. So now we have another long skirt, same price, one for the quantity, but it's a different line item because it's a different size than this one. So that's how I wanted to do it, and you'll see why in the next video. We're going to add plus and minus buttons on the sides of these quantities to quickly update, like add one or take one away to each one of these line items, and you can remove an item completely, and we'll do a check to make sure they don't add more than is available. Alright, the last thing that we're going to do in this video is add our checkout button here, and it's not going to work yet, so don't get your hopes up, but let's just, to make this easy, let's go to getbootstrap.com. I'm going to go up to components, JavaScript, and click on modal, and what I want to do is right here under the live demo, I'm going to grab all of this right here. And grab all of this and copy it. And then we'll go down to the bottom here underneath our table. So here's our closing table. So we're still in our if statement here. And I'm just going to paste that there. Now, what I'm going to actually do No, that's fine. Let's just leave it like that. And I'm going to change this comment here. We'll just say checkout button. Alright, so in this button we're going to change that text there to just checkout, and I'm going to put 2 of those there, and instead of my modal we're going to put checkout modal, and then we have to change the ID here to checkout modal as well. We'll change our label to checkout modal label, and we'll do the same right here for this ID. And for this right here for that label, we're going to change this to shipping address. Okay, we're going to just leave the body empty for now. We'll start on that in the next video. Alright, let's go ahead and check that out really quickly. So refresh. I want to, in this button, I'm going to give this a class also of pull right. Save that, and that's going to make it, yep, over here to the right side of the screen. That's good. I think that button's a little big, but that's okay. We'll leave it big. Could remove this button large if you think that's too big. I'm going to do it and see what it looks like. Yeah, I like that better, but you can choose to leave it large if you'd like, make it real obvious where they need to go next. So we have checkout. I'm going to add the shopping cart icon here. So right here before this checkout, I will do span class equal glyphicon dash shopping dash cart, and we'll close that span. Right, refresh. Alright, now we got our little shopping cart in there. That's cool. One thing that I would need to do still is clean up our CSS, and what I want to do in the CSS is I want to make these little deals here centered, because we have these right aligned. It doesn't quite look right with these on the left. So we're just going to go to our CSS files and go to main.css, and at the bottom, remember we added a class. We're just going to reference that class, and that was totals table header, and then we're going to target the THs in that, because we only want the THs targeted. And we're just going to say text align center. Alright, so let's refresh that. Alright, so now we see our totals are both bold and they are centered now, and it didn't affect these up here at all, and it didn't affect these. These are still right aligned and these are centered. So I think I like that. You know, we can continue to add things to our shopping cart. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please comment, like, subscribe, and share. And in the next video, we're going to update our cart and update our quantities here to be able to add and remove items from the shopping cart. Alright, I will see you in the next video. Have a great night.